and today I will be discussing about the acute inflammation. Inflammation, it is defined as a local response of living tissues to injury from any agent. It is a protective response intended to eliminate the initial cause of cell injury and the necrotic cells and tissues arising out of that injury. Causes of inflammation. There are several causes of inflammation. These can be bacterial, infectious agents such as bacteria, fungi, viruses, parasites and their toxins. It can be immunological agents such as cell-mediated and antibody-mediated immune responses. Physical agents such as heat, cold, radiation and mechanical trauma. Chemical agents such as organic and inorganic chemicals and inert foreign bodies such as vegetable particles, crystals, etc. There are types of inflammation. Inflammation can be acute or chronic. Acute inflammation, it is the earliest reaction, and this reaction lasts for few minutes to days. It is characterized by exudation of fluid, proteins and neutrophils. This is known as exudate. Or it can be a chronic inflammation which lasts from few weeks to years. It follows acute inflammation, or it can be chronic from the beginning of the reaction. And it is characterized by lymphocyte macrophages. Acute inflammation may also persist with chronic inflammation, then it is known as acute on chronic inflammation. 5 classical local signs of acute inflammation are there. The major component responsible for these local signs are, for example, heat is there, it is because of vasodilatation. Redness is there, it is also because of vasodilatation. Then swelling of the site is because of increased vascular permeability. Pain at the site of inflammation is because of mediators released from the neutrophils and other tissues. Loss of function is again because of mediator release and neutrophils. The events of acute inflammation can be divided into 2 phases. One is vascular events, which can be hemodynamic changes or increased vascular permeability. Or it can be cellular events which involves exudation of leukocytes and phagocytosis. Coming to the hemodynamic changes, it involves several steps. Initially is transient vasoconstriction which lasts from few seconds to minutes. It is followed by persistent progressive vasodilatation, mainly of arterioles but also venules and capillaries. Then there is elevation of local hydrostatic pressure due to vasodilatation, resulting in transudation of the fluid. Next stage is stasis. Stasis means slowing down of the blood stream. It is because of hemoconcentration associated with leukocyte margination and later exudation of the leukocytes. So this is the stage of stasis. The second component is increased vascular permeability of the vessels. It is because of several reasons. One is contraction of endothelial cells with formation of gaps. This contraction of the endothelial cells affect mainly venules. This contraction lasts from 15 to 30 minutes. It is caused by mediators histamine and bradykinin. Other than contraction, another cause of increased vascular permeability is retraction of endothelial cells, which affects venules due to cycloskeletal reorganization. This retraction occurs at a later stage after 4 to 6 hours and lasts for 2 to 4 hours. It is caused by various cytokines, TNF alpha and interleukin 1. Another cause of increased vascular permeability is direct injury to the endothelial cells. The endothelial cells can be directly injured by the infectious agent. It results in necrosis of the cells with physical gaps. Increased permeability occurs immediately after the injury, and it lasts for a long time till the tissue is repaired. Another cause of increased vascular permeability is leukocyte-induced injury to the endothelial cells. This affects mainly venules. It is due to activation of leukocytes with release of proteolytic enzymes and toxic free oxygen radicals. The next cause of increased permeability is leaking neovascularization. During acute inflammation, new blood vessels are formed. These new blood vessels are not very well made, therefore they sort of leaks the fluid into the outside environment. So this is because of vascular angiogenesis factor VEGF, which produces new vessels which are leaking in type. This is the diagrammatic representation. Upper area shows the normal thing. The net outflow is there because of increased pressure. In the middle portion there is capillaries, there is no net flow, and outside again net inflow is there. So it's a balanced thing is there. But in acute inflammation, initially net outflow is increased. Again in capillaries also again more outflow is there because of increased pressure, increased hydrostatic pressure, and in the final stage in venules also in more net outflow is there because of the hydrostatic pressure and decreased colloid osmotic pressures. Then coming to the leukocyte cellular events, there is exudation of the leukocytes. It involves various steps. First is changes in the formed element in distribution, that is margination. Second stage is rolling and adhesion. Third is immigration of the leukocytes, and finally it is chemotaxis. So these are the various steps in the exudation of leukocytes. We will come to each of them one by one. First is rolling. In this, selectins transiently bind neutrophil to the receptors on the endothelial cells. Because of this transient binding, neutrophils bounce or roll along the endothelial surface. This step is known as rolling. This is followed by adhesion. Adhesion of the leukocytes to the endothelial cells is mediated by integrins ICAM1 and VCAM1. This is followed by transmigration, in which it is mediated by PCAM1 and involves diapedesis or cell crawling along the vessel wall. Finally, there is chemotaxis. Chemotaxis means movement of the leukocyte toward the site of injury along a chemical gradient. A chemical gradient is formed because of the various mediators, and the leukocytes move because of this chemical gradients toward the injuring agent. These chemotactic factors include complement components C5a, C3a, arachidonic acid metabolites, leukotriene B4, soluble bacterial products, cytokines, interleukin 8, and chemokines for other cells in addition to nutrients. So these chemotactic factors produce a gradient from the site of injury toward the vessels, and because of this gradient the the leukocytes move from high gradient to the lower concentration, that is from the vessels toward the higher concentration near the injury. Second stage is phagocytosis and degranulation. Phagocytosis means to eat and destroy, and it involves attachment to the organism and then killing of the organism. It is associated with degranulation and oxidative burst which destroy the engulfed particles. So this is the stages of phagocytosis. In phagocytosis stages are recognition and attachment, next stage is engulfment, and finally killing and degradation of the organism. Coming to each of these one by one. First is recognition and attachment. It is initiated by expression of receptors by the phagocytic cells such as neutrophils and macrophages. It is further helped by coating of the invading organism by opsonins. The invading organisms are coated by certain chemicals which are known as opsonins, and which include IgG opsonin, C3b opsonin, and lectin. So these are the opsonins which helps in the recognition and attachment of the organism by the leukocytes. So this is the diagrammatic appearance. You can see the bacteria is there, it is attached to the receptors because of the opsonins, then it is phagocytosed, comes to line in the cytoplasm, then lysosome attached with this phagosome, then lysis occurs and this phagolysosome is formed, and ultimately necrotic material and organisms are destroyed out and goes outside. Then there are various chemical mediators of inflammation which helps in the different stages of inflammation. So these are endogenous chemical compounds which are responsible for various processes of inflammation. So all the processes of inflammation are mediated by certain chemicals. For example, increased vascular permeability is mediated by these chemicals. Vasodilatation mediated by another chemical. Chemotaxis and leukocytes are activated by another chemicals, and these chemicals are also responsible for fever, pain and tissue damage. Most mediators bind to the receptors on the cell surface, but some have direct enzymatic or toxic activity. All these mediators are tightly regulated. They are regulated. That means their generation and destruction is controlled, and they have very short lifespan, because of which they are not able to continue their effect for a long time. There are different types of chemical mediators. Some of these mediators are derived from the cells, others are derived from the plasma. The cell derived mediators are sequestered intracellularly mostly, but they can also be synthesized at the time of inflammation. Then plasma derived chemical mediators, they have circulating precursors and have to be activated at the site of inflammation. These are plasma derived, they keep on circulating in the form of precursors, but at the site of inflammation they are activated. Coming to the plasma derived chemical mediators, they are mostly synthesized in the liver. They can be kinase system, they can belong to clotting system, they can belong to fibrinolytic system and complement system. Coming to the individual chemical mediators, first we come to the vasoactive amines. These are histamine, which is found in mast cells, basophils and platelets. It promotes arteriolar dilatation and venular endothelial contraction. It results in widening of interendothelial cell junction and increased vascular permeability. So this is the functions of histamine, that is widening of intercellular cell junctions and increased vascular permeability and arteriolar dilatation. Second is serotonin, which is another vasoactive amine. It is similar to histamine but less potent, found in platelet, mast cells, EC cells and carcinoid tumor. They are released when platelets are aggregated. Then neuropeptides produced in central and peripheral nervous system. Examples are substance P, neurokinin, vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, and they are responsible for increased vascular permeability. Then arachidonic acid metabolites. These are the very important chemical mediators of inflammation. Arachidonic acid is a component of cell membrane phospholipid. So it is present on the cell membranes in the form of phospholipids. The breakdown of arachidonic acid into metabolites produces a variety of biological effects. A variety of chemicals are produced because of breakdown of arachidonic acid, and its metabolites form important chemical mediators of inflammation. First of all, the arachidonic acid is released from the cell membrane by phospholipases, which themselves have been activated by various stimuli and inflammatory mediators. Now these, once released, this metabolism occurs in two major pathways named by the enzyme that initiate the reaction. One is lipooxygenase pathway and second is cyclooxygenase pathway. So these are the various chemical mediators produced by these pathways. Lipooxygenase pathway produces HETE, which is responsible for chemotaxis. HPETE, which is produce leukotriene generation. Then various leukotrienes are there which produce vasoconstriction, bronchospasm, increased vascular permeability. The leukotriene B4 is very important because it is a chemotactic factor and is important for cell adherence. Similarly, lipoxin regulates and counterbalance various leukotrienes. So these are the various chemicals which are produced by the lipooxygenase pathway. The second pathway of arachidonic acid metabolism is cyclooxygenase pathway, which produces prostaglandins, prostacyclins and thromboxane A2. Prostaglandins are responsible for vasodilatation and increased vascular permeability. Prostacyclins are responsible for vasodilatation. They inhibit platelet aggregation. Thromboxane A2 is responsible for vasoconstriction and promote platelet aggregation. So these are effective anti-inflammatory agents. There are several anti-inflammatory agents which act on arachidonic acid pathways, which are very important from the treatment point of view. Examples are aspirin and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs which inhibit the cyclooxygenase pathway. So aspirin and other NSAIDs, they inhibit the cyclooxygenase pathway and therefore they act as anti-inflammatory agents. Another anti-inflammatory agent is steroids. They act in part by inhibiting phospholipase 2. So steroids, which are anti-inflammatory agents, which act by inhibiting the phospholipase A2. Another factor is platelet activating factor, which is released from IgE sensitized basophils and mast cells. It induces aggregation of platelets and release reaction, causes vasoconstriction and bronchoconstriction. So platelet active factor, another important chemical mediator of inflammation. Then cytokines are there, which are produced by activated lymphocytes, monocytes and platelets. For example, macrophages produce interleukin 1, interleukin 8 and TNF alpha. Similarly, lymphocytes produce TNF beta and interferon gamma. Similarly, chemotactic factors are chemokines. Other factors are there, eotaxin, interleukin 8, platelet factor 4, etc. Another chemical mediator is nitric oxide. It is a soluble free radical gas. So broad range of functions are there. Effects are short ranged and induce vasodilatation, antiplatelet factor activating factor and microbicidal activity. Then oxygen derived radicals, oxygen derived free radicals are responsible for tissue injury. Then lysosomal components are there, which are released from lysosomal granules which are present in the neutrophils and monocytes. So lysosomal granules are present in neutrophils and monocytes and they are released at the site of inflammation. Examples are, in the neutrophils, the lysosomes are present in the form of primary azurophilic granules which contains myeloperoxidase, acid hydrolases, acid phosphatase and lysozyme. In addition, phospholipase is there, elastase is there and other chemical mediators are there. Similarly, secondary granules of the neutrophils, they contain alkaline phosphatase, collagenase and lysozyme. Tertiary granules contains acid hydrolases and gelatinases. So these are the lysosomal components which are present in the lysosomes in the neutrophils and are responsible for the various functions on the inflammation. Then macrophages and monocytes also contain lysosomes. Lysosomal components include acid proteases, collagenases, elastase, plasminogen activators. They are more active in chronic inflammation than as mediator as acute inflammation. So these are more important in chronic inflammation. Then clotting system is there. The main function of the clotting system is, thank you very much. This finishes with the today's topic, but we will continue the same topic on the next turn.